Hello everyone! In this video, we are going to make a general tutorial showing you the most used Excel functions such as sum product, VLOOKUP, if, and many more. I am Onur Yılmaz, the founder of Someka Excel Solutions and also the national winner at the Global Excel Championship organized by Microsoft. We will cover each Excel function one by one with real-life examples, which you will be using in your daily business. So let's go!
In this video, we are going to learn how to use the sum function in Excel. The first example asks us to sum all these numbers in the box. So I write my sum formula and select the numbers here, and I get the result. So second example asks us to sum all these numbers, but for each row. So I'm going to write the sum formula for each row only, and I just copy and paste my formula. The last example asks us to sum the numbers and in the end sum all the results. So I just first sum each row, then copy and paste for each row. Then in the final step I am going to sum all my results to find the grand total. Okay, so let's check our results now. Okay, it seems okay. So let's go now. Okay, in the first example, it asks us to count all these items here in this numbers box. So regardless of the number, whether it is minus or plus or 0, we will just count the items here by using count function, like this. Okay, in the second example, this can be a bit tricky. So it asks us to count the blue cells with numbers in it. There are several ways to do this. For example, you can, by clicking and holding Control, you can just click on the blue boxes and see the count here. Or you can just write the count function and select whole area. You may be thinking that it will also count the blank spaces here, but it doesn't. Count function only counts the cells with the numbers or the items in it, non-blank cells, I mean. So let's close our graph and let's check our result. Okay, seems nice. So let's go now. In the first question, it asks us to find the average of these numbers in this box. So I write my average function here and just select the area, and it gives us 16. Okay, the second question can be a bit tricky. So it asks us to find the average age of girls and the boys. You see the names and the genders and the ages here. The girls' average age will be easier because it is sorted here, and I just select this region and it gives us 6.1. But the average age of boys will need us to select two separate regions because this table is not sorted. So one way to do this is, again, write our average function and select these areas by clicking and holding Control, which will let us to select two separate regions like this, and it gives us 6.9. But we can also use a more advanced function, which is called average if, like this. So in average if function, we have three criteria: the range, the criteria, and the range to find the average. So the range is the criteria range we will select, and we define the criteria. We want it to be only boy, and the range to find the ages is here. So when I write this like, I also find the 6.9. But this is a bit more complex, not for now. We'll see some similar examples in the next videos. So let's check our answer now. seems okay. So let's see. Okay, in this section we have three examples. In the first example, it just asks us to find the maximum numbers in the series and minimum numbers in the series. Very simple. I write my maximum function and select the region. And the same for the minimum function, which gives us the minus 949. This one is the minimum number. Okay, this one was easy. Let's go to the second one. The second one is a bit trickier. It asks us to find the maximum number in this region except this big number. So if we write the maximum function here, it will give us this 9,999 number. So we don't want this. How can we eliminate this? The one way is just to select these ones and delete everything one by one. So it will, when it gets eliminated, it gives us the maximum number. But this is not the practical way. If we have a very large region, we have another complex function here, which was introduced very newly in 2016. It is maxIf. So I just select my max range, and also I select my criteria range. It asks us which range we will apply this criteria. And what is our criteria? It is not equal to 9,999,999, this number. So you see, we just eliminate this big number by writing the maxIf function, maxIfs function. Okay, this was a bit more complex for this section, but I just wanted to mention that one as well. So the third example asks us to find the minimums for each column and also finally find the average of minimums we have just found. So I write minimum function like we have done in the first step. I just copy and paste, and let's find the average. We have just learned average from the previous video. So I just select my area and it gives us 5.75. Let's check if it is correct. Okay, good job. So let's go. Okay, in date functions we have several different examples, and so let's start with the first one. The first question asks us to find today's date. So we have a very simple function for that, which is called today. It doesn't have any parameters, we just leave it blank like this, and it just gives us the today's date, 20th of February 2017. Okay, second question asks us to find the day number of this date, or any date you can choose specifically. So I write the day function like this and select the date. It is 20, or I can change any I can change this date to anything else and it will adapt automatically. So month function and year functions works in a similar way. So when we write the month function and select our date, it will give the month number 2, and year function gives us the year 2017. Okay, the fifth example is with a combination of these information we just learned. So we have a dates table, and years, days, and months are separated like this. You may have this kind of cases, and you may want to find the dates from these separate data. We have a date function for this purpose, and it asks us to find year, month, and day. I can select the year from here, the month from here, and you see it doesn't have to be sorted. You can select from anything anywhere else, and the day from here. It just combines these and create a date here. I copy and paste to find the dates for each row. This is okay. And in the last example, it asks us to find the maximum and minimum date in this area, and also the day difference between the maximum and minimum day. We write maximum function, which we have just learned from the previous videos, and select my region. Similarly, I write minimum function and select the region. So it gives us the maximum and minimum days. How can we find the day difference? Actually, let me show you something. Excel stores these date values like these serial numbers. So when we find a basic subtraction, it will just find the day difference. Think it like a basic minus sign from the maximum date and the minimum date. So day difference is like this. And let's check our answer. It seems okay. Good. In the next video, we are going to learn the len function in Excel. So keep following. Hello. In this video, we are going to learn how to use the len function in Excel. Okay, we have 3 examples here, and the first example asks us the number of length for each cell here. Basically, len function returns us the number of characters in a cell, like this. When I write my len function, it asks us to select the text, and I just copy and paste my formula here. It doesn't have to be a text. You see, it also counts the number of characters from a number. A small tip here is it also counts the space characters as a character. So you see, it gives us 4 instead of 3. Now 3. So be careful with how you use the len function. In the second example, it is similar to the first one. It asks us to find the length of each text, and in the next step, it asks us to find the average of number of characters. So I write my len function again, select the text here, and copy and paste my formula, and I write the average formula, average function we just learned from the previous videos, and I select my region. Okay, 13.9. In the last example, it wants us to find the our text length. So at the moment, our text has no characters, 0, and it wants us to fill it with exactly 70 characters. I'm going to put some dummy information here. Not enough yet. Okay, a bit more to go. And now it is just exactly 70 characters. Let's check our answers now. And seems okay. So let's start. We have 3 examples for the count a function. So let's start with the first one. It asks us to find the non-blank cells in this area. So we write our count a function and select our region. And it says 13 cells are not blank. You may here wonder what is the difference between the count and count a function, because we have done almost the same thing for count function, selecting a region and finding the non-blank values. The main difference is count only counts numerical values. So let's write count and select the same region. And you see it gives 8. It counts only the numerical values, whether it's negative or positive. It doesn't matter, but it should be a numerical value. However, count a function counts all the cells which are not blank. In this case, it's 13. Okay, in the second example, we are going to use the same function for each row here. I copy and paste my formula, and then some are non-blank cells. You know the sum formula from previous videos. And the third example asks us to find the non-blank cells and then find the number of only numerical cells, which we will use the count function, and the difference by just a simple subtraction. So let's find the non-blank cells, whether they are text or numerical values, and number of only numerical cells. So we will use count function here. Select the region and simply minus. And let's check our results. It seems like a good job. Okay, we have 5 different examples and we will use round and somewhat similar functions like round up and round down. So let's start with the first example. Here this question asks us to find the nearest integer from this number. So we are just going to use our round function and select our number. For the number of digits, we are going to select 0 for now because we don't want any decimals for this example. So it rounds it to 3. If it was higher than 3.5, let's say it was 3.6, it would round it to 4. Okay, in the second example, we are going to use the round function again, but this time we will use 1 decimal, right? Like this one. So we have 15.18 and we want it to be rounded to 1 decimal only. So we write 1 here and it rounds it up because the nearest decimal is higher than 18. It rounds it up to 20. Same applies to this one as well. And in the third example, we are going to use round up. Whether it is close or far away from the high number, it just rounds it up. So we write round up and select our example here. I have to choose number of digits. So this time I choose 0 digit. You see it rounds it up to 8. Even if it was like 7.2, it will round it up to 8 because this is the difference, the round up from the round. And the fourth example is very similar. We just round it down and I will use 0 digits again in this example. Okay, in the last example, we are going to use the combination. Let's see what it wants from us. It asks us to use the round function. It asks us to use 2 decimals. And we will use this table to write. So let's write our round function and select the cells and 2 digits. Okay, and I just copy and paste it like formulas. It doesn't matter, you can just paste it directly. It rounds it to the 2 decimals for the whole range. So let's submit our answer and check if it's correct. Okay, good job. Okay, we have 3 separate examples for sum product function, and let's start with the first one. This question asks us to multiply these numbers with each other, then find the results and sum them up. So if we didn't have any sum product function, what we would do is multiplying these numbers with each other for each row, then sum these results, which gives us 500. But Excel has a function for this, which is called sum product, and it asks us to choose arrays. This is a series of values which are called arrays, and we choose our series of values, and you see it gives the same value. It multiplies for each value with each other, then sums it up. Second example works in the same way, but horizontally rather than vertically. It also works, sum product also works in this way. I choose my values from first array and my values for the second array, and it gives us 3 and 308. Let's cross check this result by making our own long way calculation. I multiply these values, then sum this up, and yes, we have the same value. So how are we going to use the sum product function? Okay, there is a mathematical concept called weighted average. This is a company profile, and each row shows how many people in this company has which ages. So for example, in 12 people has 20 age, and 8 people has 22 years old, and 16 people are 25 years old, and so on and so forth. If we want to find the basic average of these ages, we will make average and select the ages. Sorry, let me write it again and select range and 35.5. But this is not that much correct, because we want, if more people are at a certain age, we want this age has more effect in the final result. So for example, this doesn't make sense if all these people here have only one people with this age, and all the rest are here with 20 age. It still shows 35.5, but this doesn't make sense. Most of the people in the company are age 20. So we are going to use a sum product function here, and it gives us the multiplication of these numbers, and if we divide it with the number of people, we are going to find the correct weighted average age here. So I choose my ages and the number of people. This gives me the number of total result of the multiplication, and then I divide it with the number of people, and it gives me the weighted average age for this company. So for example, if all these ages have only one people, then you see the main effect is coming from this age, so it decreases. So I change these back to normal values, and let's check the result. Okay, good. This is the end of the first beginner level of our series, and in this video we are going to learn how to use the famous VLOOKUP function. In this section we are going to have 3 examples for VLOOKUP. So let's start with the first one. In the first example we have 2 separate tables, and in this question it wants us to bring the unit price for each fruit here, written here. So we're going to use this table to bring the prices. You may have similar cases in your spreadsheets, and in this case we use VLOOKUP function. So let's start writing our VLOOKUP function. VLOOKUP function has 4 different parameters. The first parameter is the lookup value, which asks us which value you are going to search for. So we select our value here. The second parameter asks us, okay, you are going to search for this one, but where are you going to look it for? This is our table where we are going to retrieve our values. This will give a small error, but I'm going to explain it in a minute. So third parameter is, okay, this is our table, but what is the number of column you want to bring? You want to bring the quantity, or you want to bring the unit price? So 1, 2, 3, we want to bring the unit price, so we write 3 here. The last parameter is optional, but we leave it as false, because we want to get the exact match. We are going to discuss the approximate match in the later videos. So I write false, or I write 0. The same thing for now. and it gives us the 4.8. Let's see, and yes, it is correct. But if I copy and paste my formulas, you see we get an error here for apple. Why is that? I go inside the formula and see my area, my table area has changed. In order to prevent this, you should get benefit from relative and absolute references in Excel. For this relative and absolute references, check our other video how to use it. For now, I'm going to just use it directly. I'm going to fix my table by using dollar signs. So I copy and paste my formula again. And now you see the table is fixed. It doesn't move. Okay, this worked. The second example is somewhat similar, but it asks us to find the brand name of a stock number. So it asks us to write 886 for the table stock number. Let's write it and let's find the brand of this stock. I'm writing the lookup again, choosing my lookup value, choosing my area. By clicking on F4, I'm fixing it, and I'm writing 1, 2, 3 for the brand and 0 for the last parameters, and it gives Apple 886. If I change it, for example, 160, it should give me Samsung. Yes, it does. Okay. In the last section, in the last example, we are going to use two-step VLOOKUP. So in the first step, we are going to find the product of this stock number. But here we have two tables. So in the stock number does not exist in the second table. So we are going to use the first table to find our product. Then we are going to use the found product to find its price. You may have this kind of case in your spreadsheet, so let's work it out. I write my VLOOKUP again, choose my table. I don't need to fix it because I'm not going to copy and paste my formula. So let's leave it like this. I just write 2 this time because this is the first and this is the second column. I want to find the product, and this is the last parameter. Okay, 620 is the month. And lastly, the price will have the same logic, but this time we are going to use mouse as a lookup parameter. We are going to use this table and second column and exact match. So the mouse has $15. So let's check our results. And for if function, we have prepared 3 different examples. So let's start with the first one. Okay, in this table, we have random student names, their exam results, and we want to find if a student has passed this exam. So the passing result is minimum 70, and it asks us to write yes if student has passed and no if student could not manage to pass. So suppose you're a teacher, you have hundreds of students like this, a long list, and you have their exam results. What you can do is to filter out the results and find out the students who has passed. But we will use a function here, which is very useful in most of the cases. So if I write a if function here, my first logical test is if the student has passed the exam. So if this result is greater than 70, I want it to write yes. Notice that I am putting the yes in quotation marks because I want this to be a text. And if this logical test is not correct, let's say if this result is not higher than 70, we want it to write no. This is the basic if function in Excel. So I just copy and paste it, and I have the yes and no of these students. Okay. In the second example, this asks us to find which brand is more expensive for each product. Okay, we have the products here, and we have these products, brands, and their prices. So we are going to compare these prices for each product. How can we do it in Excel? So let's write our if function. If this price is bigger than this price, we know that this is more expensive. So let's make our logical test. This price is bigger than this price. And value, if true, is our expensive brand is this one. And if not correct, if this price is not bigger than this price, then our expensive brand is this brand. So this is our if function for each product. I'm just copy and paste it like formulas in order not to distract my formatting. And you see the Samsung is expensive here. For LG and Sharp comparison, LG is expensive here. And for example, this one has been checked by if function, and as you see, this price is higher than this price, so it takes the second parameter in this function, which is F22, and which is Samsung. So you find the expensive brands like this. So in the third example, we are going to make a multiplication or sum operation in mathematics. So according to the operation info in this column, we are going to multiply these numbers or sum these numbers. So how should we write this in an if function? I'm going to say that if this cell is equal to multiply, I am putting it in the text, then just multiply these two numbers. If this is not correct, then just sum these numbers, because I know that if it is not multiply, it is sum. If we had more operations like subtracting and dividing here, then we would have to write nested ifs, but we are going to see those kind of cases in the later videos. So this is the multiplication, and we just multiply these numbers. I am copying and pasting the formulas, and you see for the sum we just sum it up, for the multiply we just multiply. Okay, let's submit our answer and check if it's correct. Okay, good job. So for countif function, we have prepared two separate examples. So let's start with the first one. Okay, we have a table stating the names and their genders, the boys and the girls, and it asks us to find the number of boys and number of girls. We are going to use the countif function. You may remember a similar case from video 4, the average function video, but this case is a bit more complicated. These are not ordered, so think it like we have hundreds of data like this. If we use the countif, it will make it easy to find out the results. So let's write the countif function. Okay, countif function asks you two parameters. It first asks you your range, and then it's going to ask the criteria. So our range is here because we want to check if this person is a boy or a girl. And our criteria is first boy. I'm putting it in quotation marks because these are texts and it's going to compare it like this. And I close my function head, and number of boys are 10. And similarly, we are going to write the same function for girls. And let's choose our criteria range, and let's write our criteria, and You see the number of girls are 8, so we have total of 18 students or people here. Okay, in the second example, it asks us to how many numbers here in this region are greater than 0. We are going to use the count function, but criteria can be a bit more complicated here, so we'll see now. Let's write our count if function and let's select our range. And our criteria is, we cannot write criteria like this, bigger than 0. It will give us a warning. And in order to write the criteria, we have to put it in quotation marks, like this. So we have 33 numbers which are greater than 0. So let's submit our answer. Okay. So we have prepared two separate examples we'll just cover now. In the first example, we have a table and we have products and categories of these products and the number of stocks for each product. For example, camera product has the electronics category, which is 19 stock, and in another row, we have also the GPS in electronics category, which is 31 in stock. In our another table, we want to see the number of stocks for each category, regardless of the product. So if we didn't know the sum if function, what we will do is just write sum function and select the electronics category one by one by pressing and holding the control key, electronics, and so on. But this is a bad idea because think it like if you have a very long list, this will take a very long time. So let's use sum if function and see how it works. Sum if function has three parameters. The first parameter asks you which range you are going to use as a criteria. So in our case, category range is important for us. I select this region and I also do not forget to fix it as an absolute reference, because if I don't fix it, when I copy and paste my formulas, it will just slip down, change area. I don't want this. So I selected my range, and as a second parameter, I am going to select my criteria. For this case, my criteria is this cell. So I want it to change as I copy and paste my formulas. Electronics category is my criteria for this cell, and okay, third parameter is Excel asks you, okay, I understood your range, I understood your parameter, then tell me which column or which area should I sum up. So you can have stocks, you can have prices and so on, but in our case, we will just use stocks. And I also don't forget to fix this range. And okay, 431, and I just copy and paste my formulas, and it says, it brings up the total stocks for each category regardless of the product. So let's make a manual check. For furniture, it says 78. So for example, furniture here, beds 35, couches 8, chairs and tables, and you see 78 furniture. So it seems like it's correct. Okay, in the second example, we are going to apply a similar logic. The sum of boys' ages and sum of girls' ages. So we have a table here, the names, the genders, and the ages. We are going to use a similar logic here. We are going to write our sum if function. So in this case, our range is genders, because we want to find the boys or girls. I fix my region, select my criteria. I cannot select my criteria because I'm going to write it. For this case, it is boy. And finally, the sum range is here. Fix it. Actually, I'm not going to copy and paste my formulas. I'm not going to drag it down. So I just don't need to fix my ranges. But as a best practice, it is good to use your ranges as relative references. So the number of sum of boys' ages is 96. Same logic for girls. Okay, I don't fix my region now. It should work okay. And sum of girls is 88. Let's check our answer. And seems like it's okay.
Okay, so far we have covered together the most used Excel functions with real-life examples. But as you know, it is not possible to fully learn Excel just by watching. You need to apply what you see. That's why we have prepared these exercises in an Excel template at our website. Just download the tutorial template from the link below and start making hands-on practices in Excel itself. Thanks for watching.